All right, so this is Jeff at Big Hairy Dog. This is a webinar on V8 Retail Pro physical inventory. So what I have up on the screen here is the basic 4 steps. I got a little more junk up there, but let's just start with the basic concept of the 4 steps here. There's 4 steps in any physical. This predates Retail Pro. This is back when I was in regular retail too. I mean, you start the process that freezes the book value. You count the stuff that freezes the physical value. We compare the two, make any corrections we need, and we accept the results. Right? That's the big picture overall process. Just want to get that out there for everybody. Um, to get to the V8 tool, we go to Tools, we go to More, we go to Retail Pro, Physical Inventory. So that's just how we get to the PI tool. So that's Tools, More. It's not normally in the main Tools menu because you use it once a year. All right, in Physical Inventory, I'm going to take a quick pit stop into Options and System Preferences. I use zones. I recommend using zones. There's 2 ways to run the physical inventory tool: simple physical and zones. I used to be in retail. I used to take physical inventories, and if you have a big environment or even a small environment, it's best if you can control the count, and zones allow you to do that. With the simple physical mode, if you have a count and you upload your count into the physical inventory, it's like taking a bucket of water, pouring it into a pool. You're not getting that count back. You're not getting that water back either. See, so the zone lets us upload it into a stable holding area where we can evaluate whether that count's good. If it is good, we can accept it, or we can reject it and recount it. So big fan of zones, just going to say. So let's go ahead and that's turned on. Let's go ahead and click OK, go back to the main menu. In the main menu here, we're going to go to physical and stores. And when we go to stores, it asks us if we want to, normally it asks us if we want to start. I've got an old one in here from another time, and that's kind of a good point. You can start a physical and then you can just delete it. If you don't update it, then you can have a trial run here. So anyway, step 1 normally consists of just clicking new, selecting which store you want to start, clicking OK. That's step 1. So you don't have to do anything else on step 1, but we're going to go ahead and go inside the inventory here. Now I'm going to demo a copy of Retail Pro. So everything I have is 10. I have 10 of everything. That's how it works when you and I don't know why my source start field's way over here, but let's bring it over here where we can see what's going on. So this is actually a good positive situation. This is how a start should look. Well, preferably you don't have 10 of everything, but whatever number you have here in your on hand column gets copied to your start column. You haven't counted anything yet. We just started, so you're short everything, basically. Now, if your on hand was negative, then that would be copied over here, and your difference would then be positive. So if you update, the difference will affect your on hand and will set you to 0. If you start an inventory and just update, you don't count anything, you're going to go to 0 on everything. But that's step 1. Step 1 is pretty simple. Basically creates this count sheet. Now in this count sheet, inside here, these store starts are frozen. The real on hand in the background, that is not frozen. So it's taking a picture of your inventory as it is right now, so that we can then go take and compare that to the actual count, right? The count's going to get loaded into here. So let's go make some counts, right? So let's go out of here and back up to the top, and then we have to go into zones. So in step 2, there's a couple of different ways we could do this, but basically we go in and we create a new zone, and into that zone we upload data. Now I don't have a portable scanner on my little virtual machine here, so we'll have to play around with different ways to look at how it would upload a thing or manually key them in. Let's see if we can't just get a zone created. Now this is not a bad thing to see, actually. This is something you can do if you need to. Let's what can we do here to keep this short? Is my V8 not working? Maybe not. I don't know. Filtered view. Clear all. It's good. Description. It's way more than I expected. Let's just go. I have no idea whose data this is, obviously. All right, it's good. Nice short list. All right, I'm cheating, but I'm just creating a little import file so we can see what an upload will look like here. Kind of weird, really, to be honest, but okay, fair enough. So this is an item number right here. This is a count right here. So I'm just going to file save this to my desktop so we can see what an import looks like. Now I have to go make a bad scan in there, don't I? So we'll do that in a second here. So I'm going to go ahead and insert another one here, and I'm just going to put like all nines in there. All right, so I hope I don't have an item number like that. We'll find out, I guess. I might, though, huh? Well, let's go find out. Cancel filter. Nice, we do. Yeah, swing and a miss on that one, huh?
Yeah, she did. Did I not give it? She probably hasn't given it to me yet, but she does have it. I'll give it. I'll get it for you. You're welcome.
All right, this is getting to be really pretty stupid here. We'll give it a shot and see what we got. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we don't even have a number that large. That sounds good. So we'll see if this works. Let's go back to our physical inventory. Actually, let's go back to our physical inventory tool and create a map. So what I'm going to do, this is kind of a good thing. If you know how to use maps, this could be really helpful. You can create a count sheet. You can type it into Excel. You could do things on the side that could then result in you being able to import these counts. So I'm going to go pop into my options system preferences again real fast. I'm going to look down here. So I've got these things are basically maps. So we'll just make a new one here. We'll say new at the top of the screen, gives us a new line. I'll just say scan, call it scan. The 1 through 6 are nice. So we can get in the right field. End on 6 for a length of 6. Then starting on 7 through, say, 11 maybe, will be our count. We don't have a zone. We don't have a sublocation. We are uploading item numbers. So we'll check off item numbers. and we'll click OK. And let's go save that real fast and see if that works. File, save. Yep, scan.txt on the desktop. Perfect. All right, so let's go talk about zones here now. So in a zone, we're going to come into zones. We're going to click new. It's going to ask us what store. Now, I only have one store, and it's store one, so it's defaulting to that window. If you're not in store one, you will have to change this every time. The zone is the designation that you have when you created your map. So you should be creating a map. Like when you prepare for physical, and this isn't about preparing for physical, this is about doing a physical, but in preparing for it, you should be tagging your product, you should be cleaning up the messes, no dump boxes under the service counter, right? You should be getting things organized, and in that process, you build a map and you have a plan for how you're going to count this stuff, right? So those that on that map, there are zone designations for each thing. So, it could be, store one, the section men's 501 is the section number, and Jeff could be the guy counting this, and it could be t-shirts or whatever, right? So that's how I set up a zone right there. I like to know who was doing the counting, and usually I'm uploading this after they've counted it. Like they go count it and they come up and say, hey, I counted section 501, and I key this stuff in and I click OK. They then hand me the portable terminal, right? I click on portable terminal, and it then I upload the data, which I can't do right now because I don't have a portable terminal. So I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to try and use this map here that I just created and import the item. Now I know I'm going to get at least, if not all of these, are going to be errors. So let's go find the import file I created. It should be on the desk here. So when you upload from a scanner, which most of us upload from scanners, right? I mean, it's the fastest way to count stuff. All right, why can't I find my, there we go, scan.txt. I'm going to click import, and we're going to click close, and of course, we got some errors. That's perfect. So this could happen when you scan down a section. When you scan down a section, you want to scan it as organized as possible, left to right, top to bottom, right? You want to keep things working correctly. So we're going to go look at the errors. So red dot here, the red dot is an indicator that we have an error. Okay, so we would then go look at errors, and it's showing us, okay, I got one item out of all those. I got one item. Nice. So normally what you'd see here is a bracketing of errors. You'd see a good item, then an error, then a bad item. You see the items that are bad. What they're trying to do is they're trying to bracket around the bad ones to let you know where they are, right? So if you know a good item that was scanned like right before the bad one, and hypothetically one scanned right after the bad one. Now be a little careful with that. If this is saying we scanned one good item and then we had like what eight bad ones in a row here, right? If I was scanning items though, I'll say I'm scanning a barcode, beep, scanning a barcode, scanning a barcode. I scan a bad one, and I continue to scan. Now, if we were looking at what item was scanned before the bad one, we would say 789, and then what item was scanned after, we'd say 123, right? Everybody can see that 789 and 123. Of course, the report would not reflect that. The report in this bracketing here, if we were showing an item before and an item after a bad scan, hypothetically here, right? What it would do is it would show 789 and 741, because the point of a scanner is to count stuff, right? So it's not going to create a new record for the second scan. It's just going to increment that one there to 2, right? That's what a scanner does. So my point is, if you have a bad scan and you're looking at an error report like this, and you print this out, hypothetically, some people like to print this out. We have a nice BHD zone report we install for everybody. It's a good way to print it out. Some people just actually literally just go like that and highlight the fields with the and then actually, yeah, I guess we have to highlight them all, don't we? Like that. And all I did here is I just clicked on a field, held the shift key down, I hit the down arrow, down arrow, down arrow, right arrow, right arrow, right arrow, Anyway, some people prefer this because then you can just export this out to Excel or put it in the clipboard and paste it in Notepad, whatever works for you. You know what I mean? The point is write this stuff down, right? Get this stuff all written down so you know what these barcodes are, right? Then head back to that section and find those things. When you find them, one of two things is going to happen. You're going to have a barcode that you can correct it to, or you're not going to have a barcode at all. So in option A, if we have a corrected number and we know the number is in fact now this number here, then just edit the import ID and accept the edit, right? Boom, that item is now found, right? Has a description. If the item has no barcode at all, it's holding up your inventory. Remove it from the section, put it into a trouble area for people to research and scan that section last. So if this item here is a bad item and there is no good item, no good barcode for it, I'm just going to click delete and I'm going to have it physically moved out of that section. All right, so what we should end up with at the end of this process is, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one here and enter, accept. So we print this out, we go fix our errors. We have a good section, right? I'm not doing this twice, by the way. All right, so now I've corrected all my errors. I would come back to scanned. Now in scanned, I want to point out something here. There's item numbers, and by default, my record is sorted by item number, which is a little weird. If you don't have a record number, add it to your screen, add it to your screen. You right click, go to interface, page manager, right? Find record number, put it above the line, right? That's what we're talking about. Once it's above the line, then click OK, and it'll be here. Now, if you sort it by record number, they will be in order by record number. Well, what's record number? It's the order of scanning. So if you scanned it left to right, top to bottom, and you're going to print this out, and you're going to have somebody potentially go over there and double check some of this data, right? Then it needs to be in the right order. Easy to double check. So that's normally.
Hey, Jeff.
Yep.
Quick question. When you talk about in the one report, you said it wouldn't show the same item twice. Will it in this case if you scanned an item and then you, let's say there was something misplaced and you came up with that size small in the same shirt? You should have two, but you did one small, you got a medium and large, then you came back and got another small. Will it be in that order, or is it just going to, will that throw it off a little bit?
Yeah, that'll throw it off a little bit. It'll be in the order of the original record that was scanned first.
Okay, and then it'll go back. Got it. It'll increase that count for that number. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I mean, it can only show each item once, but that's a good call.
Got it. Okay.
But I mean, with all that we do in the field, you know, when I think back to my retail days, I just remember those silly merchandise people on an end cap. They would make us, vertically block the stuff, right? So you'd have the same item all the way down here, right? And then we'd have a different item presented in the middle and another item here. So if you're scanning left to right, you're scanning each of these three items over and over again. Mm-hmm. The bad scan could be down here or it could be up here, right? And if it's bracketing right with this item and this item, it could be anywhere in that section.
Right.
I mean, there's just so many variables out there. It's nice to see the items around it, but realize there could be more than one item between them, and they don't have to be in that exact order.
Okay.
Anyway, so we print these things out. We set them down. Maybe we highlight a few, have somebody go out there and, double check a few items. If they find mistakes, then you can fix those right now, right? I could go in here and I could click edit. I could say scan quantity. There was actually 21 of those, right? I could change these. There was 19 of those. If I needed to, I could say they didn't scan 10 of those items, so I could go edit. There was only 5 of those items. and then there was 5 of the other item, which is 29220. So I could go add counts, and I could say manual entry 29220 for quantity 5, and enter, and add that into this zone. So we can correct this as much as we want, and I don't know how I got an error back in there. That's really angry at me for that, isn't it?
My brothers, may I present to you the new Rachel and Leah Center. By God's grace,
Yeah, all right. Not going to worry about that.
right here, with the devotion of his humble servants, our enemies.
Now, your zones get renamed if you're actually doing an import. They get renamed down here. You can see this one got called old now. Let's change it back to text.
To restore a moral
And
world, we can serve God. Now our hopeful prayer is turned into something real and
oh yeah, this probably was not good to have in there either, huh? All right, so new zone. So store 1, men's, whatever. And of course, I cleaned that up. I should have got a better import, but apparently, I didn't change the map. Gotcha. Yeah, so going a little too fast there. But errors, yeah, we got a lot of errors. We got one good item. All right, let's just type one in here, right? New, and you could do this too. This is if you have a small zone that you want to manually count, you could absolutely do this. Manual entry, item number. Now, if you press enter, it assumes quantity 1. Now, notice that when I type this item number in twice, it actually just increments the quantity, just like a scanner. If I flip it to this mode here, so there's 2 modes here. If I flip it to quantities, and now I can type a number, press enter, type a quantity, press enter. So if you're a person who likes to 10 key, then this is a good mode for you. If you like the tab thing, then you want the first mode. So here, if I type in a number and I tab, then I could type my quantity enter. Or I could just type the number and press enter and assume quantity 1, right? Right, so we print this out, we go to scanned, we make sure we're in the order of records, we print this out, somebody goes out, checks it out, says, hey, that looks perfect, everything looks great on that. They put their initials on the paper, they bring it back to us, we say, all right, that one's done, so we merge the zone. Boom. Blue dot is good, red dot's bad, blue dot's good. So I'm going to go ahead and create another new one just because I know it in this process we're going to need another zone when we start reporting on stuff. And of course, we're going to repeat some of those items. That's the whole point. And click OK, and let's merge that zone. So basically, step 2 in this process, counting, basically we create zones, we upload the data. We could use a count sheet. We should talk about that. We talked about errors. With some scanners, you need to clear the scanner. So when we dump the scanner off, if we don't clear it, then the next time we dump it off, it's going to double those up. So if you rent scanners or if you own scanners, you know how to use them. But if you rent scanners, definitely take the time to have a nice little session with one of our techs to make sure you know how to use the scanner, that particular one. Most of the ones we rent, you have to clear. If you have the foundry logic ones, you won't have to clear those. Those you can name the zones and push them over, and each one has a unique name. But the PTs and the Janims, both you need to clear them after you upload them. You have to clean that thing out and send it back out for a fresh scan. Print out all the good scans after you've cleaned the errors out, cleared the scanner, print it out. Somebody goes and checks it. We merge the zone. That just repeats over and over again until you're done. And then step 2 is done. Let's just go take a look at a count sheet real fast. In merchandise inventory, if I wanted to, let's see if we got anything. Yeah, filtered view. We still have that filtered view from before. It's not good, but it's not terribly bad. If I go to print, do I have what I'm looking for? Yeah. So a count sheet is just a doc design that I made a few years ago, actually kind of a lot of years ago. And you just would select all listed records, and then it would create a count sheet that you could then take out to the floor, or you could export. You could export this to Excel, right? And you could do it in Excel, and then you could probably save it as a CSV and import it back in. So if you have that ability, if you have a laptop, they could do the count on. Great. If not, just put this on paper, and they could go out and count it, and you could just key it in. Pretty handy for like really expensive items, like a small glass case of some really expensive product, and you want to take extra care. Filter for that section and print it out. All right, so step 2 then is done when you've counted all your zones and you've merged them all. So all the zones have to be blue dots all the way down. Then step 2 is done. Now, once step 2 is done, in my little instructions here, we got this little line going on here, right? That little line's there for important, good reason, and that is that once step 2 is done, you can open the doors and start selling stuff. So when you're counting your product, you have to freeze the book value and then you have to freeze the physical value. But once those are frozen, you are no longer tied to being closed. Selling an item at that point will not affect the count. And everybody knows why it won't affect the count, I'm hoping, but we're going to make sure that you do, right? So down here, I've got some little numbers I've typed into the screen. We got a starting quantity of 10. When we start the physical inventory, of course, we would have counted nothing on a good clean start, so we would be short all 10, and our on hand would be 10. If we go count 8, that would mean that the difference would be 2. We would be, in fact, short 2. If we then subsequently, while we're double checking our work and doing the discrepancies, maybe we take a day or two and we sell 5 of those, right? Then it would look like this line right here. The start quantity is 10. We counted 8. We were short 2. So how this works is the new quantity, the quantity we're going to be left with, is going to equal the current quantity on hand. In this case, the second line right here, the current quantity on hand, and this line is 10, plus the difference of negative 2. So negative 10 and 2 equals 8, right? That works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we had 8 and we sold 5, then 2 and negative 2 and 5 would equal 3. And if we had 8 and sold 5, we'd have 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we can actually start selling products. As long as we have established a full count on everything, all right, then we are good. Basically, if we're short 2, we're short 2, right? There's no cheating there. If we're over 2, we're over 2. That's how it works. So that's how the update goes. Now, down below here, I've got another example. This example here is a little different. This example here is what this illustrates is if you are not closed while you're counting. So if you're not closed while you're counting, and taking this here as an example, this is what we're basing this example on. We have 8, okay? We're trying to go out and count the 8, but we sold one before we counted. So now the on hand is set to 9, but of course the start quantity is still set to 10 because it was 10 when we started. Of course, we can't count 8 because one of them just got sold, right? So if that happens, then the result is that you get a negative 3 as a difference, which is going to try and take that one you sold out, but the one you sold already got taken out, so it gets taken out twice, right? So that's why typically we really do want to be closed if possible. We want to be closed. Now, being closed isn't actually always being closed. Like I could come in early, count the first half of the floor. I could be back on the back section. I could scan anything anybody wants to buy. Okay, then I was closed enough, right? I could count the stockroom after I'm done with the floor. Ain't nobody buying stuff from the stockroom. So as long as you're closed enough to keep control over it, then you're good, basically. Anyway, so
So does anything happen if, in fact, I guess I was under the impression that when you started the inventory, you freeze it. It's no adjustments if they're doing things in the back room, receiving things. It's frozen. Okay.
well, no,
And that,
it is frozen, but it's frozen in the count. It's not frozen in the on hand. It's frozen in the
okay.
count sheet. So this column here is
Okay.
that's the frozen start quantity, but that's your
Okay.
real on hand there. So
Okay. So let's say a shipment of stuff comes in, you've frozen your inventory, it says you've got 10, and your guy receives he receives another 5 more. So your true inventory is 15. I guess I was under the impression that once you unfroze the inventory, you finalized it, it would then grab those receivers and things like that, and it would
well,
I guess,
okay,
for
so
lack of a better way to say it, correct itself.
so it will. So in that scenario, let's say that we have 10, we receive 5 more. Well, the trick there would be to not count the 5, right? That would be the trick.
Right, correct,
Because
correct.
if we counted 15, we would then create an overage of 5, and so
Right,
on hand would already be saying 15. We'd be adding 5 more to that. So basically, you have to sequester those goods in the back. You can receive them,
right,
you
right.
can't
Yep,
count them.
yep. Okay, yep. That's what we do. Okay, okay, okay. All right. Thanks.
No, you're dead on the nosy. That's a great question because anybody else out there who's had that problem knows whatever when you freeze that, that's what you got to count. You got to count what you froze. You
Right.
can't if
Yep.
you sold it, you still got to count it, and if you receive it, you can't count it because it wasn't there when you froze it.
Got it.
Which then brings us to the discrepancies, right? So now, ideally, for those of you out there who are trying to actually understand this process, understand this. So we say we're human beings. We make mistakes. Period. So if we use zones and we double check our zones, ideally in a perfect world, if all the zones were perfect, we should have a perfect count. Yeah, right. Okay. So that's our first level of double checking, is double checking the zones. The second level of double checking is the discrepancy report. So the discrepancy report is a view of all items that are in discrepancy. For me, that's pretty much all items. But what I want to point out for you guys is that be very careful with the discrepancy report. The discrepancy reports, the reports we use for this discrepancy printout, can be used for more than one thing. They can be used to show your discrepancies. They can be used to show your total inventory. Now, if your total inventory is this is your total inventory. This is big piece of pie here. And let's say that of that, only a quarter of those are are in discrepancy, right? The rest of it is all actually counted correctly. Like we had 5, we counted 5. Okay, no discrepancy, not over, not short, which is pretty normal. Most people have the greater portion is good, and there are a number of errors, but they're not. It's not the lion's share. When we go to the discrepancy view, basically that shrinks the pie. We're only looking at the discrepancy items, right? So if you look at the bottom of totals, the start quantity is not going to reflect the start quantity of the entire inventory. It's going to reflect the start quantity of only the bad items, right? So when you're looking at a discrepancy report, don't look at the totals, is what I'm trying to say, right? Because this is not the whole inventory. But typically here we would go to print. We would choose one of the print jobs we've created out here over the time. This is a really good one. It's a one I kind of prefer, but there's a lot of different ways to do this, and I could help you if you want to manipulate one of these. Any of our trainers could manipulate one of these pretty easily, and I probably should have filtered that down a little bit, but we'll let it roll and see if it takes too long or not. But what this discrepancy report does is it breaks it up by department, which makes it kind of nice to see what's going on as you try and do this. Yeah, we got way too many items in here. I don't know whose inventory this is, but it's a big one. So, and of course, I only counted 5 items, so pretty much everything's short now, right? I still am a very big fan of this particular print job. So this is taking this APL department and it's breaking that down. At some point when that stops, if it stops in our lifetime, yeah, we're still building. Let's go to page 50 here. Okay, let's go to page 150. Okay, let's go to page 700. Wow, that is a big department, isn't it? That is a crazy. I don't know whose department that is. So at the bottom of that department, it's going to subtotal is what's going to happen. Um, Man, that is a crazy long report, isn't it? Nice. It looks like we have some kind of accessories, or I'm not sure what they did there with the department code, but there's the breakpoint that I was looking for a minute ago, right? So that's a little bit big. I think I know whose data this is now, but anyway, normally our department codes are not going to be this big. A, we're not going to have this many discrepancies, and B, this one was set up kind of large, and then most people set up their departments a little better. But now you have a plan of attack, right? You could give different people different departments to go in and check these items and find out which ones. And of course, you're going to want to hit the worst ones first, the ones that are most expensive, the ones that are most critical. And now, when you find those, they're going to bring this paper back to you, and there's going to be notes on here or quantities circled or new quantities written in, right? Um, Now, before we stop, I'm just going to flip to the end. So at the end here, you see that there's this whole perpetual inventory starting number and the count and the overage or the shortage, right? This is the numbers I was telling you. Don't look at these numbers now. At this early juncture, this is a waste of time. Not even worth looking at. Just stay away from that stuff. Exit. Now, if we then find a mistake, right? All we got to do is click edit here, and we can just go fix the mistake. You know, if it said we counted 8, but we actually wanted there to be 10, we found the other 2, we could just change it. So we run the discrepancy report, and we then make our final corrections to this. And once at some point, we're going to click save, and this is going to be good. And at that point, what I would probably want to do is go to inventory. And in inventory, I would go to filtered view and clear my filter, and I would run this little dude down here. Now, if I click that, that'll take out things that have no start quantity, no count, no difference, no on hand. If an item's not part of the physical, it doesn't need to be printed out, right? But I would basically filter that, then I would print the same report, and then I would look at the totals, because then I'd want to see the real start quantity and the real shortage, and I'd want to see what the real numbers were. Now, if in my discrepancy report I don't agree with the findings of the discrepancy report. So, for instance, let me give you a scenario. This is a real scenario. This actually happened. We had a client up in, I believe, Fairbanks, and they had a jacket, and the jacket said that they had 3 as a starting quantity. They counted 63, and they were over by 60. Well, they went and looked at the rounder. There was 3 jackets on it. They looked in the zone. The zone said 3. The discrepancy report said 63. So in the 100 zones they had in the store, somewhere else they counted 60 of that jacket, right? But going through each zone by zone to see where you might have made a mistake is kind of painful. So there is a nice little trick that's we have out there in the zone section. If you go into zones, go into inventory, there's this thing called an item zone report. Now, normally I would filter for the item first. I'm not going to filter first so I can show you the mistake, right? So I'm just going to go run the item zone report. I think that's the one we want. Looks like I was in there playing around with it. Made some multiple copies. But so the goal of this report, well, it's right there at top. You can see it right here on this first item. shows you the item. I was really into boxes when I created this. But below it, you got a little grid that shows you all the zones and the count that was done in each zone. So this thing works from the item backwards to the zones and shows you what's the map, what's the audit trail of where these counts were accumulated. Now, you could print this whole thing out for the entire inventory. I have had people do that and export it to PDF. Then you could send it to people and they can search the PDF very quickly. So, if you're looking for an item in PDF or on Retail Pro, by the way, you can just go to find. You could type in your item number, press enter. It would highlight the item number in red anywhere in the report, by the way. So, that's a really handy trick in Retail Pro alone. It's also possible, though, just to export this out to PDF. Close this little find box. Go up here, say send that out to PDF. Right, drop it into PDF. Now, this is going to take a minute to print. If you print the entire inventory, I'm going to tell you this is going to take 30 minutes to probably generate. But once it's generated and exported to PDF, you could then send that out to multiple people. Multiple people could be researching things and they could do multiple searches all at the same time. And then they could see, it would help them find those items. And or in the case of my guy in Fairbanks, what they found was that they had counted 60 jackets in the jewelry counter, which begs the question, what piece of jewelry did they not count? So it's a nice trick. Item zone report. Normally, like I said, you would go to filtered view first. If you were using this and you wanted to be quick or a little bit quicker, you would go down to the item section. There should be an item number in there. You just put in your item number you were looking for, right? And then you'd be able to just run that for the one item. So once we have found all our mistakes, we've gone into stores and in our inventory or discrepancy, we've clicked on edit. We've corrected all of our mistakes. Then I would go back into inventory, do my little filtered view trick with my switch at the bottom. I would print out my final report, and everybody wants to know the final number, right? So, yeah, pain in the butt. I probably shouldn't have executed that filter, but I'm not going to wait for the report again. You guys saw the report, right? So we don't need to revisit that. That brings us down to step 4, right? So step 3 is basically printing out your discrepancies and fixing them as needed. And step 4 is accepting the results. So to accept the results in our stores menu, there should be an update button. Now, we also have to talk about multiple stores here. For anybody who has multiple stores, we've got to bring that up in a second, but let's just finish this conversation, then we'll come up to that one. Okay, so when we're ready to accept the numbers, we click update and we check off the store we want. We click next. On this screen here, this is a tricky one. The answer is incorrect here. It defaults incorrect. Okay, so the correct answer is all items. So the example here would be that we started the inventory. It said we had 2. We counted nothing. We counted nothing because we don't have any. So if we only update items that got a count, that one will remain at 2. It will not get updated. It will not go to 0. We will pass that shortage on to the next physical, right? That's basically what's happening here. So 99.99% of updates done, whether it be a full physical or a cycle inventory, are always done for all items. So just warning, note up front here, this is a mistake a lot of people make. There's an easy fix for it. If you make this mistake, we can fix it. But just be aware that that one's waiting to bite you. In the next screen, we would say what the reason is for the update, and then we would click next, and we would click finish. When we click finish, we get this neat little filter. We would clear the filter, and then we would click OK. When we click OK, it would actually write the adjustments, and it would make the adjustments to inventory. So it would correct all the quantities by applying the difference to the on hand. All right. Any questions there about any of that stuff so far?
I was taken against my will.
All right. So All right, so let's talk about multiple stores here for a minute. I'm going to cancel that for a second. Um, in a multiple store, okay, let's start fresh here. Um, if we have a main server here and we have a remote store over here, and we basically talk via the internet, and we pull back and forth. We synchronize the inventories nightly, basically, is what we're talking about here, right? Um, this copy of the inventory over here is nothing, okay? The real copy is over here, okay? Now, in the course of a year, little mailbags are going back and forth, right? Little mailbags are going back and forth, back and forth. If we miss a mailbag, if we miss an inventory update, this inventory here is not going to be 100% accurate. So what you want to do is you want to send this inventory down in version 8. This is not so much in version 9, but in version 8, you want to send the inventory down, I don't know, a day or two before the physical inventory. Now, what's going to happen if we send it down? Let's say that we have an item, and this item had 10, okay? And we made a receipt. We sold one. So at the remote, that became 9, right? Now, this receipt hasn't pulled up to the main yet because we just sold it, right? So I initialize inventory. It pushes down the whole inventory, and it changes this back to 10, right? Now it's 10 again. That seems like a problem, doesn't it? Except that, again, this receipt hasn't pulled back to the main yet, has it? So when this receipt pulls back to the main, it changes that item from 10 to 9 at the main. This here is considered a difference. This difference then pulls back down, overwrites this record here, and puts it back at 9. Follow? So when I initialize the inventory, I need a day for it to recover, right? That's the deal. I mean, I could do it real time. I could initialize, then I could do another polling or two. That seems like a lot of work. Polling in version 8 is really good. I'm worried about errors that happen over the course of a year or 6 months. I'm not worried about polling errors within a day. You know, within a day, basically, if I'm going to start the inventory at the remote, I'm going to have initialized it, say Monday, it's now Thursday, whatever. I'm going to make sure my polling cycle is complete. I might manually do a manual polling to push the data into the main. So now the main knows all my sales, which I already knew, so I don't have to wait for a polling to come back down. I'm just going to make sure my polling cycle is complete, and then I'm going to click start at the remote, get going. Now, the other side of the coin, the remote store is not going to see the word update. It's going to say prepare. So a remote store in version 8 cannot update their own inventory. They have to ask the main to do it. So they're going to see prepare. When they click prepare, it's going to pop up just like this. It's already going to be checked off. They're going to click through these screens. This is going to be grayed out. It doesn't matter. Prepare, all a prepare is going to do as you click through these screens is going to zip your counts up and send them into the main. That's all that's going to happen at the remote. So now, if you want to see your results, then you need to have somebody at the main office, and you need to do a quick poll. And then they need to go in and finish the process for you, or you just need to wait till tomorrow. All right, now, at the main office, okay, if I'm sitting here in the physical tool and they do a quick poll and they drop their count off, I am not going to see it. It's not going to show up here. So at the main office, you have to exit the tool and you have to go back in fresh. The only time that it imports counts from remote stores is when I launch the tool. So I got to go in and relaunch the tool. And what I'll see is instead of just popping in there like that's going to for me, it's just going to pop in there. I'm gonna see it kind of pause, and I'm gonna see a little screen pop up as it imports all the counts in. And then boom, they'll be there. And then you could go into physical stores and that you'll have a second line there. Basically, you'll have another store that just showed up. And then you could actually update that, and we might as well, I guess, go ahead and update it, right? So we'll go ahead and say update at this point in the game, and we'll say all items next, and physical inventory next, finish and clear all, and okay. And it goes about making the adjustments. So once this is done, I could process out in polling, and then I could go ahead and let them quick poll and pick those numbers up, right? Now, in polling, I probably should peek at that real fast, just so we understand the. Are we done yet here? All right, fine. I'll just go around the. Right. Okay. We're just gonna cheat. All right. We're on C Retail Pro 8 R Pro. Okay. So polling normally we would go to tools polling. Right. That's how we would get to polling. Or if you're cheating, you'd go in the back door, you'd go find the trans.exe, and you just launch the application from the Retail Pro RPro folder. Nice. That little update thing really wants to be like in charge, doesn't it? It's really into the whole. Oh, there we go. Yeah. All right. Your physical inventory counts will be updated now. Okay. Yeah, it's still updating. All right. All right. Let's move this over like that. Let's bring this up. Let's bring it down a little bit like that so we don't have to deal with that little box. So this is our polling. This is just polling. I just went in the back door. And in stations, we have one station here, right? So if I was going to initialize this, I would go over where it says initialize, surprisingly. I would check off the store that I want to initialize. I would not click off inventory here. I do not want to send I don't want to send departments down. All I want to send is the actual inventory. Now, I'm a little weird this way. I usually send prices too. I don't see how you can send inventory and not prices, personally. But I don't need to send the rest of that, right? I don't need the vendors to go down. They're already there. So I don't want to send down more than I need to. So I'm going to basically stay on the top menu here, right? And I'm just going to check off the things I need to. When I click OK, it'll process that data out, create the mail bags. The next polling cycle, that'll go down. So that's why I say if you're going to do inventory on Thursday, you want to do this on Monday. You want to let it go down Monday night, then let Tuesday night's polling correct everything, and then by Wednesday you're all good, and then you can do something on Thursday, right? All right, so I think that's all we really need in polling, right? I mean, and this isn't a training on polling, right? So process out is how we would send the data back down to the store, but it's right there. You click process out, it goes and processes out. Then in fact, all version 8 clients, they have to quick pull from the remote store. So once they quick poll, they would then be able to see the results. We're waiting for this silly thing right here. Let's go ahead and talk about reports here. That's not the right reports, is it? No, it's definitely not. So we're going to have to close that one. Okay, come on. God, maybe too much history in there, huh? Oh, man. Flew right past it, didn't I? There it is right there. There's reports. Now, what seems to be missed, shall we say, a lot for me anyway, is that is a reporting aspect of this whole thing. Wow, it's really painful on that update. I really picked a bad inventory, didn't I? Should have picked different data. All right, so this is the quantity adjustment report right here. So what Retail Pro is doing right now is it is making quantity adjustments. So I guess what I would point out is that you probably should run some reports on those and understand them a little bit. But this report here is at the item level. This is not an outstanding version, shall we say, of that. And this is not the right version, is it? I'm in the wrong version of reports. Let's try that again. I thought I opened the right one, but I guess I opened the wrong one. There we go. That looks much better. Okay, so adjustments, quantity changes, right? That's the version 8 copy. And again, this is at the item level, so this is going to show every single item. And there may be a time when I want that actually. Once I know I have a bad department and or vendor or bad vendor in a department, and I want to know what the items that are showing up short are, so I can go figure out what I did wrong. That is a good report, but at this early juncture, it's not. So what I would probably do is copy it, and I would say quantity changes like by department, and then I would go in edit mode, and I would change my sort level to department. So either D, C, and S, and I like D, C, and S kind of because I like to see the master departments too. So I would change it to DCS, and then in my layout, I would do the same. I would get rid of that. Now, you could keep DCS or you could add DC and S separately, but it's going to be better if you add them separately, really, because the goal and the only reason you'd add them separate here is to be able to subtotal by like the master department, right? That's kind of the whole point of doing that. The reason code we don't really need here. But it is helpful, and the store is probably not a bad thing to have. I don't know if I really care about the old quantity or the adjusted quantity. I mean, if we had 10 and we end up with 8, I don't care about the 8 and the 10. I care about the -2. That's what I care about, right? That's really what I'm looking for here. And probably should put these in like that. Now, I also would probably care about the cost, right? So I would want to know some other stuff here. The extended difference in price and the extended difference in cost. Really, cost is the biggie. Right, so this would give me a lot of really good information about those departments. So now we could go in and say our lowest level of detail is the subclass, right? So we could say we want to subtotal by these two, and then we could add these here for subtotaling, and then add these down here for grand totaling, and hit save. And let's minimize this for a second. And is that thing finally done? Wow. That's exciting in some kind of really weird way. All right, so we'll click OK. Let's back up to the main menu and see what that did. We don't need physical inventory anymore for the moment. Let's go to adjustments. Let's go to adjustment memos. And it just made all those. So all those were made. There's my reason code, physical inventory. The source is physical. Each one of these items, each one of these transactions has 900 items because that's the maximum number of items you can put on an adjustment memo, except for the last one, right? So it kept spilling over, adjusting more and more items until it got to the last one and only had 188 left. So now if we look at any one of these form view, you're looking at the minutia, right? I mean, you're looking at all the items that were adjusted out one by one for 900 items on each one. So if we come back to reports and we say print, and we can leave this on today. So let's try this for today. Let's see if this report makes any sense. And let's go over to reason code. So for the purposes of this, I only want to see the physical inventory, right? That's the only adjustment I want to see. Right, so each store, actually the store here is only one store, but APL, which was quite a big department, right? Here it is being broken down and subtotaled for APL. So this is this first one. Let's blow this up. I don't know about you, but it's kind of hard to read. Okay, so APL ADL, I'm not sure what that is, but you see that this first subtotal is for that ADL, right? Then the next one is apparel jersey, maybe, and then we got a subtotal for that, kids and women's, and then down here we have two subtotals. The final subtotal is all of APL apparel, right? So this would give you a bird's eye view of the shortages that you had, where they were. And of course, another nice thing to do is if we were to redo this report, and this isn't a training about reports, but if you were to redo this report by DCS instead of DC and S separately and then rank them. if you rank them inversely, the lowest to the highest, it'll show you the highest shortage on top and the biggest overage at the bottom, right? That's also a very sweet report. Not hard to make either. But when I was in retail, we had to know our top 10 shrink areas. We had to go in and figure out what was going on. We had to research it and see why we were losing stuff from where. Not a bad idea, really. So that's just one example of how I would start maybe doing some analysis of that physical inventory. But I don't want to bore you guys too much. So I guess I'm going to ask if anybody has any other questions or any other aspects of physical inventory, because I mean that's pretty much all I have, I think, to go over. Well, then I'm going to say thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Al. Always good to talk to you. And Chuck and Barbara, appreciate you guys attending.
Thanks, Jeff.
Not a problem. And I'm going to tell you guys to have a good rest of the day.
Thanks. Happy holidays to y'all.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.